Jimbo, you got not Jimbo. Well, you can if you want, but Shane Daly. Click on that link, and if you need a password, that's the one you enter. But I can't see Shane yet. Right, Shane is here. Okay, so is that Shane? Is that? Let me just move over to my Zoom screen. Okay, can you hear me, Shane?
Yeah, okay, no problem. Very good.
Oh, okay, lovely.
Doing?
Yeah, doing all right. I don't think we've spoke on video before. I've known Shane for a long time, but he's a repeater keeper. So let's just check. Can everyone hear? Just give us some numbers, Shane. So everyone can hear you.
Testing 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
In actual fact, I can stick the headphones in. It might be a bit better on actual fact.
No, it's fine. Don't touch your thing. No, don't touch your thing. Thank you.
iPhones for you. You get no.
Yeah, well. Yeah, but if something's working.
Jack anymore.
Very true. You need that stupid adapter, don't you?
Yeah.
So
and then obviously you can't charge the phone at the same time.
Exactly. So I'm just checking the waiting room. There's no one else in the waiting room. So so just introduce yourself and tell us about the repeater that you run in Nottingham.
Yeah, so basically I'm Shane, Mike 0 Victor Uniform Bravo, I'm 0V, based in Nottingham, and I just came across your video tonight, Chris, and and I doing a digital one, and I've a hobby for about 4 years, about 4.5 years, something like that. Gone through the whole lot. I'm still learning myself, so it's all a big
exactly. You didn't want to say you're an expert.
Not been in it long, but yeah, well, this is it. I didn't want to say none of us are experts. We're all learning.
No, we're all learning. Exactly. And people think I'm an expert. I'm not. I only talk about the stuff I know about, obviously.
Well, yeah, that's it. And everybody's got their own strengths in the hobby, and that's the thing. It's not like everybody knows it all. Everybody knows what they know in their particular department of the hobby.
Yeah, well, my idea, my way of thinking was, Shane. A lot of us have got a hotspot, or we've got access to a repeater, and we know how to use that hotspot or repeater. But people don't realise there's a lot more to DMR, for example, than going in a hotspot. You've got DMR simplex. You've got reflectors. You've got talk group. What's the difference? All the different networks in the world. Different hotspots, static, dynamic talk groups. There's a lot of stuff, isn't there?
There's nearly 200,000 users on DMR now. They've really growing quite rapidly over the last sort of 4 years.
Yeah. What is it, about 183,000?
It's getting close, yeah. It's getting close to sort of getting up to the 200,000 mark. And it's only ever since sort of, they started to sort of develop into having proper networks and stuff. Like Brandmeister, when Brandmeister came along and shifted it all about and stuff, and it started making it easier for users to come on board and repeaters and stuff like that. They brought it all together really, and I suppose the Chinese development market in the radio, in radio, have brought it all together for us as well, especially in the digital sector.
Yeah.
So
have you had any experience? Have you had any experience of DMR simplex when you use DMR simplex?
Yeah, so simplex is quite it's exactly the same as just using an FM simplex mode. So all you're doing is changing the way that you're sending. You're just changing the way that you're sending from end to end. So instead of using an FM radio and picking up the signal at the other end and it's just FM, it's the same sort of dynamic with DMR simplex. You're just keying up, It's sending a digital stream, you know, as it would across the airwaves, and that's it. And there is no. Everybody gets confused about having. There's a certain distance with simplex. It's exactly the same distance as an FM signal.
Yeah, yeah. Because I proved that with my long distance DMR, didn't I? Getting into the repeater.
Well, DMR simplex is tier 1, so it's the most basic form of DMR you can do. There's no time division. It's just a straight stream from end to end.
And it's got to be linked to Talk Group 9, hasn't it? In the UK, in different countries, it's got to be linked to other talk groups. Is it in the Netherlands? 99. I'm sure in the Netherlands it's 99.
Well, we've adopted. I mean, there is no sort of standard thing, really. I mean, we've adopted Talk Group 9 because everybody knows somebody's heard somewhere of Talk Group 9. So it's best to if you're using simplex, it's best to program in Talk Group 9. Doesn't matter which slot it is because we're not doing TDMA on simplex, and that's it. And then whoever's listening 50 miles away on that frequency will hear your transmission on the same talk group. It's got to be the same talk group from end to end, though.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You've got to have the other person's got to be listening on the talk group you're on, or they won't hear you unless they're using unless they're using promiscuous digital monitor. You know, and it just complicates things. Yeah. So we need to have a standard, and in different countries there's a different standard.
Exactly, and for people that don't know what promiscuous means that it's hearing everything. It's hearing all talk groups. So the best thing to do is, if you are in simplex mode and you're looking for a contact, is to stick your radio into simplex mode or digital. What is it in any tone again, Chris?
Digital monitor.
Digital monitor. Turn that onto 2 slot or whatever it is. So that enables you to hear all the traffic, because not everybody uses the same talk group. Not everybody knows the Talk Group 9 is the default talk group. So when you're doing simplex, have a play. But we use it all the time.
By the way, Martin's just said it's 99 in the Netherlands. So, like I said earlier, I thought it was 99. I'm just turning my heater off. It's flipping freezing in the UK, isn't it?
It is.
I'm getting very hot here.
I don't know, -2 or something here.
Yeah, I'm sitting here in a t-shirt. You know, I won't be here for long. But so in the UK it's 9. In Netherlands it's 99. What, anyone else watching? What is it in your country? It's very interesting. Over to you, Shane. Carry on.
Yeah, so simplex is a good mode. I definitely think people should try it out. People have tried out using C4 FM. It's the same thing, exactly the same thing. If you've got a Yaesu, and you want to do a digital simplex voice traffic, it's exactly the same thing. Someone's got a Yaesu one end, you've got a Yaesu your end, and you're just going into DV. What is it on the Yaesu? Is it there's narrow and there's voice wide.
Narrow and wide.
Voice. Yeah. So the two different mode. Well, voice wide is using the full bandwidth for a start. I think Yaesu use 6.25K, don't they, on the narrow?
Yeah.
And it's 12.5K on wide. On digital, it's always 6.5. But yeah, it's the same concept, and you can do the same with.
Your video's cutting out. Are you on Wi-Fi? Are you on Wi-Fi, Shane, or 4G or 3G?
I'm on the Wi-Fi.
Could you go? Any chance you could go nearer to the router?
Yeah, let me just to 3G, Chris. 1 minute.
Either that or switch, or go nearer to the router. So.
Right. Okay, you got me now, Chris.
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, let me just have a look.
That sounds good. That sounds good. That looks good. Yeah, that's fine. So so DMR, well, any DMR, D-Star or Fusion doesn't need to use the internet. You can do it all with simplex. Instead of FMs, it's ones and zeros, and it works. Yeah. And DMR and Fusion has error correction, doesn't it? So there's extra packets of information sent.
Yeah, and what people have got to sort of we've added the internet into, some ways it's bad, but we've got to sort of come up with the times now. We're in the 21st century. The internet is there, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's not going away, is it? It's going to be major part of communication.
Oh yeah, and we as hams should take that into our grasp. We are supposed to be the pioneers in all of this. If we're one step behind, we're not really hams anymore, are we? We're just
exactly. Hams experiment. They tinker with stuff. They try stuff. It might not work. I'm sure the first ham who tried digital thought no one's going to like this, but they did. So a lot of people checking in the comments. Ali Howard is saying DNDV. Kevin McAllister, I use my FT3D for WiresX and DMR. I use a hotspot WiresX to DMR. Greg Husky, found you just checking in from Canada. Kevin McAllister, N3 ABC, good call sign that. So that's DMR simplex. Just trying to encourage people to try that. So you're a repeater keeper on the Nottingham. What is the call sign of the repeater?
The repeater B7NR. That's got 7 November, and then there's also one, but that 2 mode, it does D star and DMR, and just going back to the simplex thing with the repeater. This is, if you disconnect the internet from the repeater will still do exactly the same job as a repeater. It will repeat DMR traffic. It doesn't matter if it's connected to the internet or not. Having the internet is just an added bonus, really, Chris. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Having the internet just means you can hit the other side of the world and make get more craft traffic on your repeater.
That's right, and nowadays encouraging users to actually use a repeater is a bit of a task, really, especially in the UK. There's not a lot of people that use the repeaters, and
I really don't know why. I really don't know why.
There must be 90 odd repeaters in the UK on digital, right? And we should encourage users to use them, really, because you're going to get really good quality traffic getting through them, especially if you want to get on the internet and you want to talk to people around the world on DMR and stuff like that. Because most of the repeaters have got really good quality connections into the internet. You see.
Yeah, and even just FM. People don't use the FM repeaters. On this channel, on Digital Analog Ham, we have nights where we just talk. We just try and get contacts on repeaters and get people using them.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I strive to get people to use the repeaters if they can, even if it is the analog side, because you've got the toys there waiting in the chat ready to use. You can get your FM radio and start making some contacts. I will play it, but I repeat a bit further out.
Exactly. Your audio's break. I think you might have recovered a bit. Your audio was breaking up a bit there. So was it Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve? Mike M0XMX was doing a live net, wasn't he? And you were doing stuff behind the scenes, operating the Nottingham repeater in the background. You were linking it to stuff.
Yeah, so basically the Nottingham repeater GB3NF, that is on a system called it's just a standard analog repeater, but it has facility being connected to the internet using a system called All-Star is just an internet system in which you can link other repeaters or other simplex gateways together, or link to one. So, you know, it adds that bit more of a link into how much, you know, coverage you want to get, or who you want to contact. I mean, you could link it to anywhere in the world, any repeater in the world that's got all-star capability.
Yeah, but how did you link it? How did you link it your end?
Well, what the repeater you mean?
Yes, you were linking it to other things, weren't you? You were linking it to all. I mean,
Yes.
I know how. I mean, I've got an all-star node, but you link repeaters. You link to Fusion. You link to other things. You know, how do you bridge across them all?
All right. Okay. So it gets a bit technical then, you see, Chris, because
Well, this is a technical conversation. This is what we want to hear.
Right. Okay. So basically, the way that we did the net on New Year's Eve, this was New Year's Eve net GB1 NYE. Me and Bruce was running the back end of that, and basically we had to create a big hub. You know, if anybody's heard of HubNet or anything like that, we created the same thing. We had to create the same thing to manage the amount of traffic that was coming into it. So we created a hub, well, a couple of hubs actually, and linked them together and created a network in the cloud.
Well, what are you doing? Are you operating a computer? Are you on a PC? Are you? How are you doing this?
Basically, it's well, sort of. It's basically all Starlink, but it's been compiled on a VPS. Instead of having your node in front of you in physical hardware, we had it built in the cloud. I built it in the
Fascinating.
cloud.
That is fascinating. Yeah.
So it acts as a node, but without the radio. So everybody links to that. They've got a fast, super fast connection because it's a VPS in a data center. You know, you
Well, how
can't
do
get
you
any better
manage
connection.
volume levels? How do you manage volume levels? You know, with someone coming in
Well,
too loud or matching.
well, you've got to do a lot of work in the code to get it right. You know, we had bridges going into DMR and CQUK and D Star and YSF and all sorts of stuff. But getting those levels right is a bit tricky because you've got to add elements of code and stuff to get it right. So you know, it weren't sort of something that was sprung up. You know, me and Bruce, we did have a bit of sweat on doing that job.
Yeah.
And actually maintaining and keeping the links stable was a mammoth task. It literally for 2 hours, well, 3 hours nearly. Me and Bruce we lost about stone in weight, Chris.
Yeah, I bet you did because I was trying to get in for about an hour, and I think you or Tony text me and said I can hear you, and
Yeah.
I could not get into the. It was New Year's. It was Christmas Eve net. That's right, and
Yeah,
I could not get into the net. But
yeah, well, I seen you connected. You was connected to GB3NF, but I had to take that repeater off because we had somebody come in.
The demand was more than you could supply, wasn't it? It was unbelievable. There was hundreds of people trying to get in all around the world.
About 1,000 connections coming into that, and we couldn't get all of them on. Put it that way. We could only get a few of them on. But what we've done now is we've thought, well, this is quite a viable thing. We've actually created something permanent now, and we've actually put a bit. Me and Bruce have put a bit of time into this. This is Bruce. This is 2E0 FWV, who's helping me, and we've created a big structure now that can handle all these. So for future stuff like this, we can just literally just spring the servers up and away it goes. We're calling the project Freestart, and that's actually available now to use. In actual fact, there's somebody coming in on Freestart now.
Did you say Freestart? FREEST.
Yeah.
Now, before we talk about Freestart, can you tell us about what's your new venture? FreeDMR. Are you able to say anything about that yet? If you don't want to say anything, it's fine.
Yeah, free DMR. That is another venture that was created by Simon G7RZU. and he's basically took a the master code from HB Link, which is basically maintained by the DV Switch guys. And what he's done, he's compiled all of the software together to make a master server. So basically, what we've done is we've created a network, a new UK network for DMR, and currently at the minute we've got about 20 repeaters connected. There's 500 hotspots connected to free DMR. It's just basically a new open network. And
what is the website? Because I'm trying to share a link for you and advertise it. What's the website?
The website's freedmr.uk.
freedmr.uk.
Just .uk, yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I'll put it in the description. And I mean, I know what's good about it. It's an open system, isn't it? It's free. You're free, as in free to do what you want. But what could you explain what the difference is between that and Brandmeister?
Well, for one, it's a UK built system. So UK hams, they like the idea of that. So that's one of them. Second thing is using open source code, and we're resubmitting the open source code back into GitHub. So it's a completely open project. Simon's created he's used existing software. He's done exactly the same thing as PyStar have done, right?
Yeah.
So PyStar is a bundle of software all put together in a nice front end. And this is what Simon's doing, G7RZU. He's building a master server, compiling it, and putting all the different bits of software all together into one package. So basically, we've already got New Zealand on board, so they've got their own master server. They've got all their own users and repeaters on it now.
I saw that today. Norman put that up. What was it called? Free DMR New Zealand, wasn't it?
Free DMR New Zealand. Italy's come on board. France has come on board. So they're all coming on board. And I don't know if you've noticed, but have you got PyStar, Chris?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you noticed, but if you click in the master server list, you see lots of HB Link stuff.
I was going to ask you about that, Shane. There's a huge amount of HB Link. Could you explain first of all what HB Link is, and secondly, how can people get onto your free DMR?
Right. Okay. So going from what I was saying, the HB Link servers, hopefully in time, everybody will think, well, we might want to join this free DMR sort of thing. Because the good thing is they can do what they want. They're not tied up. They're not jailed up as such. They can do whatever they want, basically, with the software. It's up to them. It's a master software. It's such a powerful piece of software, Chris. So they're all getting on board. So basically, with to connect to free DMR, just go to the website, go to the how-to page, and it will all show you on there on how to connect. It's
exactly.
So simple.
By the way, sorry to interrupt. I went on there and I tried it. I've got the Blue DV on the PC, Blue DV, and there was a section how to get on free DMR from a Blue DV, how to get on free DMR from PyStar. All the different hotspot platforms are on there as a text document. How you can get on there, even the open spot, all of them.
Yeah, it's all there, and it's in constant development. I mean, don't forget, there's roughly just short of 500 hotspots on, but don't forget it's in constant development. It's not out of beta yet. It's not even been released yet, and they're getting quite a lot of interest. So they're doing really, really well. And I mean, I'm managing the website and the front end of it all, getting it out there on the internet and all that sort of thing, and helping out where I can.
So what's the difference between free DMR and Brandmeister?
Well, Brandmeister is a closed source software. It is pretty much a commercial piece of software. And even though, I mean, don't get me wrong, Brandmeister is a brilliant piece of software. They've really, really, really developed it quite well. And Artem and Rudy and the guys have done amazing on Brandmeister. But I don't know. There's no differences really. It's just that Brandmeister's one network, 3DMR's another, DMR.
I know, but which one is more open? I've got a feeling 3DMR you can connect to anything you want. If it's possible within.
Well, we can't exclude TGIF in this. We've got to give Ty Weaver gang a bit of
the TGIF network,
the TGIF network, absolutely amazing. You can go on there, you can play around stuff. We all want to install anyway, and you on TGIF, and I don't know whether it's true, but I believe that the guys used HB Link and have rewritten the software and created TGIF basically. But for anybody that doesn't know what HB Link is you have to have a look up at it in GitHub. There's not a lot of documentation for it, but it's basically a software that's used for bridging stuff and making master servers with and stuff like that.
Very interesting. I mean, could I do that from my house with just one computer? I mean, what is a master server?
Right. Okay. So a master server is where everything links to and where all the talk groups are routed from. So you connect one hotspot or a repeater to the master server, and it then routes the talk group and all of the DMR stream to the server, and then it'll route it back out to any other hotspot that are connected to the server. So it's a point that everybody connects to, and anybody can install HB Link and make. I mean, a lot of people use HB Link to manage all of their networks. So
is a master server just an IP number, Shane?
It's there it serves at the point that everybody connects with a lot behind it, everything to work. And a lot of people use it as a piece of software, their networks together, so that they've got all of the networks into their own little mini network. A lot of the Salad
fascinating. That is fascinating. Yeah.
The Salad cluster they've got their own master server. They put all their repeaters on it, and then they connect to the network.
Can I ask a question? So a master server, a server always sounds very fancy, but is that just a computer running? Could that be just a computer running in someone's bedroom? Could I have a network? I'll come up with a network called Digital DMR. Come up with a new one. Could I run that from my bedroom? From a house?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been running a HB master server for quite a while now. It's running on my NAS drive. And,
brilliant.
I've got a couple of hotspots on it. I've got a couple of networks on there, and instead of me using copious amounts of hotspots to get on every network, I just use one hotspot, and I've got my talk groups mapped in the master server, so I can go on any network.
That is fascinating. That is fascinating. But anyway, don't let me interrupt. If you want to tell us a bit more.
Yeah, this is all going into deep level stuff. This is like the deepest of the deep. We're going into master servers.
This is what I wanted this video to be about, Shane. But everyone knows how you go to you've got a hotspot, you move the clicker knob on your radio, you key up and you're on another one, you do the disconnect. I wanted to go into a bit more depth, make it more interesting.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff to it. I mean, you could, in theory. The hobby is absolutely humongous, Chris. Lots of people are into so much different things in the hobby. It's so vast. No wonder people are so sparsely populated in it, because
that's why you can't find anyone. They're all they're all up to summit.
you've got like probably 20,000 hams doing all this sort of stuff, just on computers all day, making master servers and stuff. So it's really interesting for me because I'm into computers quite a lot.
So am I. I'm a computer and a radio guy. You told me a few days, we've had several phone conversations, obviously. I know you very well. I spoke to you for years. But what was it you told me that was very interesting? You told me that, on DMR, it was something... God, I've lost my trail of thought. Something to do with DMR. God, it was really interesting. It was about the differences between DMR networks. That's right. You told me something. It's about reflectors. In the UK, reflectors are going out of fashion, so we can't use reflectors. In the UK, we use talk groups now, like they do everywhere in the world. Talk groups. If you're going through a hotspot, you've got a channel program for your hotspot. You have it linked to a talk group. Now, you told me something very interesting. For example, in the UK on DMR, we've got 2350, which is the UK on Brandmeister, which is the UK call-in talk group. 2350 on DMR Brandmeister. Now, they're doing away with reflectors. Has it actually happened? Has it actually happened on Brandmeister? I know they said it would.
12 o'clock midnight on the 31st, they are now cease to exist. They don't exist anymore.
Now, you told me something. You've come up with a very clever system where you call in on a talk group, but they've changed the talk group numbers to the actual number of the reflectors, so people wouldn't notice much of a difference. Could you explain that?
Yeah, so back when we were told that reflectors were going, John G4TSN and Jonathan Naylor G4KLX, and he's the guy that made this all happen for DMR in the world. He created the code for the MMDVM. So basically what he's done, he says, well, we can get around this because obviously reflectors, for anybody that doesn't know, you used to have to dial a private call. It was a reflector number. So, for example, the U440, that was a call, and that would get you on 4400. But then talk groups came along, ruined the whole show, Chris.
Yeah.
So 2350 was linked. 2350 as a talk group was then linked into 4400. Now, over the years, talk groups have got massive, and everybody's using talk groups now, which is basically a group call. So reflectors have been, whoever developed them in the early days did discontinue the development or something, and obviously they couldn't code it anymore, so they've just got rid of it. So what we've thought of, and this was Jonathan and John, they have designed something in the DMI, which is in DVM. This is DVM protocol. To using a reflector number like 4400, why not use a talk group number? So dial in private call 2350, and then that will then bring you to 2350 on a static group call, i.e. talk group 9. So they've developed this over a number of months now, and they've incorporated it into the new free DMR server. So now, instead of being all confused about all reflectors and stuff, we're all using the same number scheme. You can use free DMR both ways. You can either use it on talk groups as you normally would on a hotspot, or you can use just talk group 9 and just have talk group 9 programmed in your radio. And if you do want to move around other talk groups, like for instance 91, you just dial a private call to 91 on talk group 9, and then that brings you straight to 91. You get the announcements and happy days. So yeah, it works really good.
Now, you were just saying loads of technical stuff there. Can I just pause you there? Just pause your trail of thought there. Because look on the screen, running out of time. Because we had someone else call in on our Zoom, had no video or audio,
Right.
it's going to cut out. So if it cuts out, look in the comments and we'll call you back. So sorry to interrupt, but when you're going in through a reflector in the UK we've got reflector 4400, and that's gone. And we used to have a channel set up on your radio which was talk group 9, and then you would manual dial into that reflector and type in a reflector number, and you get the lady's voice saying connected, and you could also do the status check.
Yeah,
when you're in a talk group, you don't get that option.
No, but you do get that option on 3DMR. If you do a private call to 5,000, you'll get it come back saying what talk group you're actually in on talk group 9.
Did you say private call 5,000?
Private call 5,000, yeah.
Just tell us what private call 5,000 does. Is it status check?
It's status check. Private call 4,000 used to be on link reflector, but we don't use private call 4,000 anymore. It's always a group call. So that'll disconnect you from any talk group and put you on your own again. So it's quite useful, especially if you're on the road, or especially if you don't want all the copious amount of talk groups in your radio. Some people are still using Motorola's and stuff, and it's not practical to use a copious amount of talk groups in those radios.
Exactly. I mean, does 3DMR use talk? Does it support talk alias, where it shows people's call signs without a DMR database?
Yes, it should. That TA is stopped at the repeater or the hotspot. So any stream of DMR or 3DMR just repeats that stream to your hotspot. So yeah, it does support TA, but that is an option that can be turned off at the repeater or the hotspot.
Yeah.
So it does all of that. The only thing it doesn't support is private calling and APRS at the minute, because we're still trying to work away on how we're going to do that. Brandmeister, they got it spot on. But we're still learning, it's open source stuff.
Yeah, well, you've only been, how long have you been going? About a month or two? Well, bit longer than that in development, but
5 months it's been going for.
5 months, how long has Brandmeister been going? They've got it sussed, they know what they're doing.
Exactly.
And it is fascinating. It is fascinating.
They've all done a great job, and we've all had good time communicating and stuff. But at the end of the day, sometimes you have to sort of keep the wick wet and sort of get moving on with some new code.
Exactly. Just be aware we might cut out in a minute. If we do, please look in the description in the YouTube, and I'll give you the new link. But this is what I wanted to discuss on the YouTube channel. This is very fascinating stuff. A lot of people just use a hotspot or a repeater and they know how to operate it, but there's a lot more stuff that goes on in the background. Put it in the comments. Is this information useful? If you can learn everything, then
it's amazing how many people
it comes in useful
in the back. It's amazing how many people in the background keeps the thing running, Chris. There's a lot of people working very hard behind the scenes that nobody knows about, keeping all of this running, and we've got to take our hat off to them. They're doing a cracking job.
I mean, there's Oscar. I've never heard of Oscar. What is he running stuff in the background? I thought he was very good on video, on Mike's video.
Oh, Oscar, yeah, he's very good frontman. He's a very good speaker. He's
a bit like me. I don't know anything, but we can talk about it.
Yeah, Oscar, you put him in front of a mic and he'll get you 1,000 users on the other end.
yeah, a bit like me, but bit like me, doesn't know anything, but I don't know anything, but can talk about it forever.
Yeah. But I say it's been great to come and join you on the video, Chris. Hopefully I'll join you again. I've got a dash, got to feed the young one.
Okay, well we're going to cut out soon, so that just just times perfectly. So I will set up another live video, and perhaps when free DMR is a bit more mature, it's progressed, we'll add it to the put a link to it. You know, we'll revisit it in the future.
Yeah, no problem at all, Chris. And thanks for having me on your video. And
absolutely fascinating.
Catch you soon.
Absolutely fascinating. Thank you for joining us.
No problem, Chris. Cheers, guys.
Okay, 7-3, my man. Cheers. Good night.
Cheers.
Okay, so put it in the comments. Shane's gone. A great informative chat about free DMR. Cheers, bud. Yeah, brilliant. You know, that was fascinating. That was fascinating. Colin Lowe, he's a repeater keeper. That was fascinating, wasn't it? You know, this is the sort of information you don't hear about on on YouTube channels. It's a bit complicated, but we like complicated. Let me just end this. I'm just ending this stream. So just put it in the comments. How do we want to finish off this stream? Do we want to? Do we want a live call in, or do we just put live call in? People can call in live on radio, or would you rather have someone else and someone on Zoom or a live call in? Put it in the comments. Zoom, or do you want to call in? Do we want to take calls all around the world? D Sacco, more videos like this, another live chat soon. Yes, I was hoping people would appreciate this, you know. This is quite interesting. This is how we learn stuff. So I just thought it was very interesting. I know a lot of people contact me that are high up. What's happened to the green screen? Oh, sorry, mate, it's fell down. A lot of people contact me. I know a lot of people that are on the backbone of the digital systems and analog systems, and you're doing well, Martin. You're doing well. Bring it round. I can repair it. Okay. I'm not bringing the green screen round. I've got two other things for you to repair. My 2E0 ERO mag loop and my flipping power supply that's gone dead. And by the way, my power supply, you were right. It was the power supply. My 991's working perfectly. Anyway, Ali Howard. Yeah, I don't have a DMI radio, but are always happy to learn. Yeah, well, this information, I found this fascinating. I'm a computer guy. I've built and repaired computers for years. I'm a radio head, and I like technology. So all of this stuff, is just up my street. Now, so put it in the comments. Do you want a live call in? Do people want to call in live on DMR, D-Star, Fusion? Got all the radios set up, Jimbo. Anyone can call in on FM. We can hit the local FM repeaters. Or do you want to call in on digital or sideband? Do you want to call in on Zoom? Put it in the comments. It's not about me. This is the title was I Need an Expert. If there's any more experts out there. Colin Lowe, he's an expert. He doesn't know it, but he is. Chris Waters, he's an expert. So I think we'll get Chris Waters on another time. He's just getting. I think it's a bit late for him. But put it in the comments. Do people want to call in on? Do people want to call in on Zoom? Just put Zoom or live. Zoom or DMR, D-Star Fusion. Do you have a staff shop? No, I don't. I don't even have a shop. But Jimbo is staff. Right, just looking at work. Yeah. No, we don't. Definitely not. So we got 400 playbacks so far. Well, 361, and 25 likes, 30 people watching at the moment. But that's pretty good. Average watch time 5 minutes. That's not too bad. But let me just move it over to the main screen. I like the beans. I like the beans and sausage pies. He's on about Greg's. Okay, so I'm just moving over to the radio view, and I'm going to take, first of all, if anyone wants to call in on, we are going to be taking calls on Echo Link. If you've got 2E0UKH/L or All Star *3 43006, you can call, just you know my call sign 2E0UKH/L. You can call in on that. Mate Wayne Moorcraft just got the 991A. Love it. Yeah, I've got the 991A. Right, let's move it over to this screen so you can see what I'm actually talking about. So I'm going to take calls on DMR 2353, and I'm just going to minimize that. So connect to DMR on Brandmeister 2353. We can use free DMR in the future. I'm going to be publicising free DMR. Shane's network. Well, it's not Shane, but he's the person I know that's I think it's Simon that's in charge. So DMR 2353. So I'm just switching on. Can you see my mouse? I'm just on the blue DV up. So DMR, we're going to take calls on 2353. Group call. Group call is talk group. Private. So I'm just going to unlink because there was an Italy, I think it was Italy station. I'm just going to do a 4,000 group call, which will unlink me. So 4,000. Did you hear that, guys? 4,000 group call. Let me just put my light on. Right, DMR 4,000. So 2353 on DMR. So I've just connected to DMR 2353. Uh, 2E0UKH listening on 2353. Do we hear anybody?
Mike 7, Mike Victor Foxtrot, Paul in Manchester. Very evening, very interesting video, Chris. I look forward to more of them.
Yeah, thank you very much. M7 MVF, is that right? And my eyesight's not brilliant. It's on. I've got loads of monitors here. It was just an idea. We all use hotspots. We all use repeaters. We use digital and analog. And I just wanted to let people know there's a lot more interesting stuff going on behind the scenes. It's not just VoIP. There's a lot of really fascinating stuff, and in the future this stuff is only going to get better. So anyway, just let us know where you are. I know it's Paul, M7MVF. Whereabouts are you, Paul?
Yeah, Roger, Chris. Yeah, I'm in Manchester. and just using the Yaesu FT70 to transcode with a fairly low battery, so I will say 7.3 and go back to monitoring. But yeah, very interesting night, Chris. Thanks a lot, mate.
Thank you. Yeah, okay, very interesting. Well, thank you for calling in. It's an interesting subject. Nobody knows about everything. About this digital stuff. And I just wanted to show that there's a lot more that you can do. With digital. Could be simplex or duplex, repeaters or hotspots. And there's a lot of stuff you can do, and the different networks, they're all different. Anyway, I think you've got a low battery, so I will let you go, and I'll take the next caller on DMR 2353. Dave Wilson. Hi, it's Dave from Shelburne, Ontario, Canada. Okay, so we're on DMR 2353. DMR 2353. So I'm just going to put it in the comments again. DMR 2353. So anyone want to call in on DMR 2353? We can take calls on Echolink. Is anyone waiting on Echolink? I'm going through the different modes. We can take calls on Echolink, which is 2E0UK/L, All-Star 34006, and we can do D-Star, Fusion, anything you want. Jimbo, do you want to call in on analog? Jimbo can call in on FM or sideband, HF, VHF or UHF. So anyway, I might have just solved it. Right, so if someone in the comments could just say video is okay now. Video and audio okay. Back to you, David.
It's working, Chris. I just rebooted my YouTube page, and it come right back up.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is not the BBC. I don't care if it all goes wrong. I don't care. I'm doing my best. At any one time, there's probably 100 people watching at the most, and my OBS, the broadcasting software I am using, shut. It just closed. But the YouTube live stream continues, and I reran it and it works. And people are saying we're back on. So anyway, panic over. So how long have you been watching the YouTube channel, David? From Chris 2E0UKH.
E3VAV? Well, I actually just found it just before Christmas. I'm the guy that sent you the request to talk about the new Redivis RT73 mobile radio.
Yeah, Roger on that. Yeah, I remember Dave Wilson. Yeah, I remember that very well. So you're in the Facebook group. So now I did put in the comments on that Facebook group. By the way, if anyone's interested, this is the Facebook group. Bring it up on the screen. I've got a Facebook group, Digital Analog Ham. That is the Facebook group. I did put on here. I spoke to Vivian. Vivian works at Retivis, and I used to have a thing going with Retivis They used to send me radios to review, and I did say to Vivian, does this radio do, you know, can you just type in a call sign and go there? Sorry, type in a talk group and go there. And she didn't get back to me, so I got a feeling it's just a rehashed DMR radio. But you know, in the early days, Retovis were very good, but you know, things have moved on, and there will be some Anytone 578 variants coming out in the future, which are not as expensive. So at the moment, I'm still recommending the Anytone 578. David, back to you.
A3 VAV returning. Yeah, I've actually got my RT73. I have been talking to Vivian, and there's new firmware coming out. Now, my understanding is that you will be able to go from the microphone panel and type in a talk group that you want to go to. It's probably going to work along the same lines as the way the Anytone 878 works, which is what I'm speaking to you now on.
Yeah.
You know, so it'll be, you know, a few keys to get the group call. That's how I got here to 2353. And it's supposed to be the same, but they're still working on new firmware to
F5 MOX, Gerard.
You know, guys have found in the radio.
Wayne Moorcraft, he's got one.
Opened up the RT73 official Facebook page and is sending out beta firmware and all that kind of stuff for us to test.
Yeah, very good. Well, Retovis are very good like that. You know, they support the radios. Now, in the past, all the is very well supported, matey. Thank you. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jimbo. The Retovis radios, the only thing that they were lacking, the Aliens. I told Vivian, I told Cherry, I told Jason Lee, you need to be able to type in a talk group and go there. Like on the Anytone 868, the Anytone 878, the Anytone 578, the Radioddity GD77 with the Open GD firmware, the MD380 with the ad hoc method. You need to be able to go in and type in the talk group. You know, that is a necessity. That is a necessity of modern digital radios, you know, DMR radios. Back to you.
A3 VAV returning. Well, I'll tell you, Chris, I'm going to be experimenting with the radio over the next 2 or 3 days, trying to figure out how to do that. They say it is possible with the firmware that I have in the radio now. I guess it's because the CPS for it is a little bit difficult to understand because they name things different than, you know, the Anytones or the Alincos or any other radios. So you've got to first figure out what their version of their shortcut code and what it means. Like on my software.
Anyone else waiting on 2353?
GSL or GSC actually means time slot.
Just type 2353 in the comments and I'll let you in.
That way, but you know, I'm gonna plunge away and figure it out.
Yeah, well, the Retovis, I've had the Retovis RT3, which is the same as the MD380. I've had the RT82. I've got an RT82. Let me just got an RT82, which is the same as the TYT 2017. I've got the I had the MD 500, which is the same as that one. I've had the RT83, the RT84, and I had the Alliance HD1. And all of these radios, well, several of them said they could do private call, group call, manual dial, but they wouldn't, in practice it wouldn't work. So I'm yet to see a Retivis radio that does it, so I'll be very interested in seeing that. Anyway, David, thank you for calling in. I don't, this has been a bit of a long stream. I don't know if anyone else wants to call in. We're on 2353, and I'll make this my final to you. I just need to go in the other room and get a glass of water because I'm run out, and I've got work tomorrow, so it won't be much longer. So anyway, thank you for calling in, David, and I'll be back in a minute on 2353 listening for any calls. Okay, so we're just back again. Can't hear anything if anyone's calling. Okay, so was anyone calling on DMR 2353? This is Chris in the UK, 2E0 UKH. Where's my mouse gone? Right. Okay, we're listening on DMR 2353. This is Chris 2E0 UKH listening. Dave Wilson, yeah, nice speaking to you. So just listening for any final calls on 2353. Ali Howard picking up a Retivis RT95 for the car. Mark Lucas, DMR has died, the hotspot dongle killed it many years ago. Yeah, well, you can use repeaters, you can use simplex, but I know what you're saying, Mark, but not everyone's got a repeater nearby. I haven't got a repeater nearby. I'm in a block of flats. If I could use HF, I would do. So DMR's not died, but what Mark is saying, using the hotspot is not, the preferred method. Totally agree with that. But anyway, anyone else want to call in on DMR 2353? If you want to do D-Star, put it in the comments. If you want to do Fusion, put it in the comments. Or if you want to call in on Echo Link, this is my Echo Link node, 2E0 UK/L on Echo Link, or All Star. Put it in the comments and I'll let you in. And while we're here, I'm just going to see if anyone is connected to my node. So if I show my right hand monitor, you can see that I'm sitting here on my own, 2E0 UKH/L. This is my All-Star, star 343006. So, or if you connect to my Echo Link, which is 2E0 UKH/L. But anyway, I hope everyone's enjoyed the conversations tonight. No audio on 2353. I'm not on 2353. That's okay. So I think we've finished on DMR. Put it in the comments if anyone wants to call in on Fusion or D-Star or Echolink or All-Star or VHF or UHF. I'm not sure if Jimbo's there. So just put it in the comments if you want to call in on D-Star or Fusion or Echolink, and if you don't, we'll end the stream here. So I can see Martin there on Martin PE9 TIG. He's calling in on Echolink. So very good, Jimbo. Okay, so Martin PE9 TIG, go ahead, it's Chris in the UK, 2E0 UKH. He's keying up, but he's got no audio, you've got to speak. Martin, you've got no audio. Dead key. So yeah, Martin, you've got no audio. PE9 TIG, got no audio coming through. Dead key. Martin knows, he's put it in the comments. If anyone wants to call in, we're on my Echolink node, 2E0 UKH/L, and it's also an All-Star, star 43006. So that's the monitor. Right, try again, Martin. It's Chris, 2E0 UKH.
Roger that there, Chris. This must be better. Hey, thanks. I've experimented with a lot of other software things, and somehow this microphone is getting FUC.
Mr. Ham Radio Dude is there. Ham Radio Dude, thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. Yeah, okay, Martin, thank you for calling in. A lot of friends watching. Just going to share the setup we're running. Not sure how long. Your node, Chris, is offline. Well, I'm speaking to someone, so that's unusual. I am online. I'm talking to Martin. Right, this is my Ham Radio Dude. I'm not sure how long you've been watching. This is my radio setup. We've got DMR, D-Star Fusion, FM repeaters, SSB, and simplex FM going. And this is my other monitor. We've got All-Star going, and we've got Martin on there, PL9 TIG. But someone F5MOX said your node, Chris, is offline, so that's unusual. But are you still hearing me, Martin?
Absolutely, Chris, absolutely. The picture isn't very much. It's a wee bit blurry. People would think it's normal for capturing HI. Probably a 14K4 connection there.
Yeah, okay, very good. Yeah, it's very funny. It's very normal for this area. You know, we've got rubbish internet, but we'll persevere through. We don't really care. It's all a bit of fun. Jimbo is saying it's normal for this area. Chris Damron, hello from N1XJ1 XJI from Massachusetts. Hi, Chris, Damien. Thank you for calling in. Anyway, anyone else want to call in on Echolink 2E0UKH-L? Just bringing up the information on the screen, or 2E0UKH-L, or All-Star Node *3 43006. Over to you, Martin.
Thank you so much. No problem with that. So I'm trying to figure out how this works. But as I was explaining, I was experimenting with a lot of different settings for my microphone, and sometimes the other program takes those settings over, so I'm out of audio, so I have to reset it all. But I will figure it out someday, sometime, somewhere. That's the secret. I will let you know quiet here, and we can see how many people are calling in. Too easy,
Chris Damron, thank you very much. I've seen your videos. They are good. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, okay, Martin. Just looking on the dashboard, I've had nearly 540 playbacks. 26 people watching with 30 likes. So if I could get a few more likes, that would be nice. I mean, this is just a bit of fun. I don't get any money for these likes. It's just about a bit of fun, interaction. So I've got 30 likes. I've just highlighted it in blue here. And I think 31. Got 31. 27 people. So I've lost 2 people. And I've got 1 extra like. Anyway, put it in the comments. If anyone wants to do D-Star or Fusion, we can do that. Echolink. Anyway, thanks for your support, Martin, and calling in. You normally take part, and I highly appreciate that. Back to you.
Yeah, Ron just said, Chris, no problem. That's all. Thanks. All right, keep safe over there. Also here we've got a wee bit of a COVID-19 problem going on. So it's also a lockdown here in the Netherlands. So, yeah, but it's still kind of work. Some people got home on it. Stay safe, my friends.
I just swore then. Oh. Yeah, okay, Martin. Thank you for calling in. Got quite a few more people on the line. So I'll say 7-3 and we'll hand it over to SM4XBC. SM4XBC. Go ahead. This is Chris, 2E0UKH. So on Echolink All-Star we've got Sierra Mike 4 X-Ray Bravo Charlie. Go ahead, this is Chris, 2E0UKH. Yeah, go ahead there, my friend. Sierra Mike 4 X-Ray Bravo Charlie. Go ahead, it's Chris in the UK, 2E0UKH. Yeah, roger on that. I'm just going to look you up on qrz.com. I thought I heard what you said, so I'm just going to look you up on qrz.com. I do have that available to do that, so qrz.com. So I'm just going to qrz.com and I'm looking for, well, it won't let me paste it in. Control V. Yeah, that worked. So yeah, got you on qrz.com. If you look on the screen, you'll see your information. Back to you. But that's okay. Yeah, Chris Damon, this is my shack. I normally have a green screen behind me, but this is my shack, Chris Damon. So just going over to the other view. Yeah, okay, well, thank you for calling in. Do appreciate you calling in. I did bring up all your information on the screen. Anyway, this has been quite a long stream, so I don't want it to be too long. And you know, the title was I Need an Expert, and luckily we had Shane call in, and you know, hopefully it was quite interesting for everyone to, you know, see there's a lot more to this digital stuff or analog stuff, you know, that meets the eye. Chris Damon, thank you for tuning in, mate. Yeah, okay, many thanks. Thank you for calling in, and thank you for your interest in the YouTube channel. You know, we're just doing this for a bit of fun. We're all, loads of us are locked in all around the flipping world, and you know, we can't go out, so I know, I'll play radio. That's how it works. Anyway, thank you for calling in. 7-3, cheers. So no one else on Echo Link. Chris Damon, he's trying to figure a few things out. Well, you're welcome to call in. I mean, if that's your problem, you won't be able to call in. Anyway, I think I'll call it a night. Thank you to everyone for calling in, watching the channel. We're doing pretty well. We've had nearly 600 playbacks in an hour or two. 600 playbacks, 22 people watching, and 32 likes. So smash the like button, and you know what to do. Anyway, 7-3. Put your 7-3s in the comments. We're going clear. Jumbo 7-3 bud, nice. Nighty night, everyone. Yeah, would send me an email, Chris Damon. Send me an email. I'll help you if I can. M0ADH, he's saying 7-3. Put your 7-3s in the comments, and thank you for watching. Ali Howard, 7-3, mate. Good stream. Stay safe. Thank you. Psycho is saying 7-3. So put your 7-3s in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. I wanted to do a technical video there. You know, it goes above, definitely went above what I know, but just to show you there's a lot more that you can do. You know, there's a lot more to it. It's not just talking using digital is not just talking on VoIP or Zello. You know, there's a hell of a lot more to it. Anyway, just acknowledging people in the comments. Nick Carlson, thanks for the QSO on Echolink from Sweden. Thank you. SM4XBC, High Flyer 2 Whiskey 0 LKX73, just caught the end. Okay, it will be available on catch up. You can watch it later. Martin, Triple N, listen, learn, listen, look. Jimbo saying 7-3. Okay, right, going clear. Thanks for watching. A 2E0 UKH going clear. Cheers.